Shit. Okay. This is a screen you're being greeted with. Yeah, not expecting that myself. But you know what? Whatever, we're gonna run with it. I am gonna turn the audio down a bit. But yeah, it's gonna be a kind of a. I'm gonna move Streamlabs here just so I can actually look directly at my camera. Oh wait, I can't do that. Okay, I'm just gonna have to look straight at Nintendo. Yeah, so small stream today. Basically last night I saw that that Nintendo were about to go live today for a third Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom trailer, and I wasn't expecting this because I thought, well, we're not gonna get any more because they just did the gameplay thing the other week, and the game's only a month away. Releases a month yesterday, so I didn't think this would be a stream I'd be doing. I wasn't sure if I'd actually be able to stream or not today. I've got a pretty busy evening. Basically from 4:30 I'm not at home until like maybe 11, 10 at night. Though I digress, that's besides the fact. So I wasn't sure whether I was going to stream today, but I saw this and I thought, well, I want to capture my reaction to what is potentially the final trailer for Tears of the Kingdom. So that's why you're here seeing me now. I can take this off. I was playing Star Wars Zones earlier. Why, oh why do I get Discord pings when I don't need them? Anyway, yeah, so prediction time, I suppose. I have no predictions. Genuinely, I don't. Because the thing is, I wasn't expecting a trailer, so you can't necessarily blame me for not having a prediction. I was thinking the gameplay demo, sorry, the gameplay reveal rather that we got was more and more gonna be basically what we got until the game actually launched. But I guess we're gonna get a bit more information. I'm not. I wasn't prepared for it. Really, I wasn't. I thought they've announced the actual date. They've announced the actual title of the game. They've announced the date. They announced pre-order bonuses and the fucking collector's edition. Oh my god. Um, I'm definitely gonna get that amiibo when it drops, though. I definitely want the amiibo. And then also, like, they've done the gameplay, so they've shown off like some of the new gameplay stuff. So I can't necessarily think. Sorry. That kind of elaborates on some stuff we saw in the trailers. So what are we gonna see for this? I think the only interesting couple things I took away from the gameplay reveal was we appearing to see like a new snake serpent dragon sort of in the background. We saw it in one of the other trailers, but I thought at first it was Naja, but a lot of people online are pointing out that it's potentially a new dragon entirely, so something like directly Zonai. So maybe the Zonai deity itself, not Farosh, like we thought it might have been. Um, speaking of Zonai, yeah, we got actual confirmation that the Zonai are behind the Sky Islands. One of those construct enemies from the leaks that we saw in the gameplay a reveal, it dropped what was called a Zonai charge. It wasn't elaborated on, but it is basically the most explicit confirmation that we're gonna get of the Zonai being involved in something. Like, it was obvious for a while, but the very fact that we now have like that direct confirmation that they are responsible is pretty important, I think. because it actually just provides like confirmation, not direct confirmation, but more interesting confirmation to the fact that a lot of these theories about the Zonai's involvement in the game are true. I don't know what to make of that at the moment. The Zonai are pretty elusive, and a million other people have covered the topic way better than I could in about 2 minutes 53 seconds. But yeah, that's it really. We only have... I don't have much. The only thing I want to see from this trailer is more Ganondorf. Because when they dropped that last trailer at the end of the direct, I was... I loved that voice! I'm actually so glad they gave him that voice as well. Like, I know he's a disheveled skeleton, but the last thing I actually wanted was some voice like this, where he's really dehydrated and you can tell his lungs are basically dust. You know, I didn't want that. I am so glad we have, like, an actual, deep, manly, intimidating Ganondorf voice. I love it. Oh boy, I'm such a fucking fanboy. Yeah, I mean, that's the only thing I really want to see, but even then, I imagine they're gonna throw something I'm not expecting in the trailer. Like, they've always done something in the trailer so far that I wasn't expecting. I think one thing, for example, I wasn't expecting a Breath of the Wild sequel, I will be honest. I genuinely wasn't expecting a sequel, so when they announced that at E3 2019, I was like, what the fuck? What? What the fuck? That caught me off guard. Later trailers and all that, with the Sky Islands, I think, caught everyone somewhat off guard. I think we all thought that was pretty much covered in Skyward Sword. I think most people I know had that kind of reaction. Like, whoa, Sky Islands. Then, of course, in the official reveal, in, like, name reveal, we had, well, Tears of the Kingdom and the weird tapestry. And we get that again in the last trailer. But then we get all the weird, funky stuff that you don't expect each time. Like, a shield flamethrower, the rewind ability... and now we've obviously got elaboration, weapon fusion, the fucking car. I was not expecting that, where you're actually able, like... I thought that was such a cool thing, because obviously you can make glitches, like... Well, not glitches, but you can exploit Breath of the Wild to do stuff like that. I might do it tomorrow on stream, just to show it off. But the fact that it becomes a game feature is amazing. Anyway. Here we go. Any second now.
皆さんこんにちは。
God, what is the video
ゼルダ
quality?
の伝説シリーズプロデューサーの青沼です。
Is it 360p? There we go.
ゼルダの伝説 Tears of the Kingdom の発売まであと1ヶ月となりました。
A day late, my
地
friend.
上から空まで途切れることなく一つにつながった広大な世界で皆さんのこんなことできるかなが思う存分楽しめるそんな未知なるハイラルをご体験いただけるまでもう間もなくです。私も皆さんがどんな風にこの世界を冒険してくれるのか今から本当にワクワクしています。さて今日は発売前の最
Okay,
後と
so
なる
they're
トレーラ
confirming
ー
this
映
is the
像を
final
ご用意い
trailer.
たし
That's
ました。
good.
それではご覧いただきましょう。どうぞ。
Okay, more Sky Islands. Weird box that might be a labyrinth. Ooh, this is a lot more peaceful. Oh, construct attacking a Chi-Chi. That's very nice to see. How fucking high do you go? The main theme, yes! Oh. Let's see. How's this going? Oh, it's the retain. Oh, okay. Where she gets to see. Oh, this is fucking cool. The fuck? Is that Typhlo? I think that might be Typhlo Ruins. What's going on there? No way. The fuck are you? Are you Zonai? Is that what you are? No way Hyrule Castle got
Zelda.
restored that easily.
We rely on your knight, and that legendary sword he carries. Our last line of defense will be Link.
Link.
Fuck. I was really hoping that thing we saw in the trailer wasn't going to be Zelda. I was really hoping there was a different character. Ah. What the fuck? Space Lingo Hobbs, alright. What the hell is going on?
I know why I am here. It's something only I can do.
Do not look away. You witness a king's revival and the birth of his new world.
Holy shit!
Okay, let's go!
Holy!
But you are not alone.
Link,
Oh my god, that's
you are our final hope.
holy! We actually, oh my god.
Link! You must find me.
Is that a different VA for Zelda, or is it just... Is it a different VA for Zelda, or what? Like, her voice, it sounds deeper, is what I'm gonna say. Oh my god, hold on, I wanna go back. Where's Ganondorf? Where's Ganondorf? Where is he? Where is he?
Do not look away. You witness a king's revival and the birth of his new world.
Oh, oh, oh. Mmm. Mmm. I love it. I love it. God. I. Oh, that was so cool. Do I want to analyze this? The video is already like 20 minutes. No, I don't want. So, one thing I'm excited about now is looking at that trailer, we saw Link teaming up with like other characters in game, like, and I don't mean like in cutscenes, I mean like specifically he was attacking alongside them in the same style we would attack in Breath of the Wild, which means we're actually getting way more involvement from the other characters in the game, which is important. I want to go back a second. I want to go back. There was the face. Where's the face? Where's the face? Where's the face? Where's the face? It's coming up. Hold on. There. So, okay, I want to focus. Like, this is the only proper shot we get of, like, what I'm guessing is the Zonai. This is what the Zonai look like. They're not humanoid. They're an entirely different species. Which, I suppose, kind of makes sense when you think about it. Because, like, in a weird way, it makes sense. When you consider the... And don't get me wrong, I know they're based on the ancient Mesopotamians, and those were humans. But when you consider, at least in the style, when you consider Hyrule, and then the current Zonai ruins we've seen so far, it is oddly alien. So, yeah, like, you remember what I was saying before about them throwing something at me that I never expected? I was not I thought the Zonai were just not going to be there. I thought they would be all, like, dead. Very dead. And that makes something new. So, Zelda falls down the hole, falls, and Link fails to save her at the beginning of the game. We also see Link jump down the same pit. So, presumably, at that point, the Zonai show up. And we know, where they found Ganondorf, is obviously like a Zonai temple of some descript. So, they fall down the same hole. And I'm guessing the Zonai must have rescued them. So Zonai rescued the pair of them and split them up for some... Unless it was two different factions of Zonai. That could be something. We get two different factions of Zonai. So we get the ones that... Yeah, because the Zonai technology and magic, it's like the Sheikah. Where they both flourish in technology, but it's powered by magic. And obviously some of them are more innately magical than others. Hence like Sheikah monks. So what if there's two different factions, like Yiga and Sheikah? So we've got one faction of Zonai that make the technology like the Sheikah. And then we've got the other faction that hold on to the much more magical element of their culture. So one's what... And that would explain you've got two types of Zonai. You've got Warlike, which explains why Ganondorf is not essentially demonized in those cave paintings. But you've also got the side that potentially explain why now they're showing up to help. Now Ganondorf's back. Because it looks like they're on our side. Or at least the ones we've seen. Like, that's just what I'm guessing. I could be wrong. Hands in the air. I'm not a genius. But I wouldn't be too surprised if we were told the story. Look, the Zonai and Ganondorf obviously have some kind of connection in this game. That was probably going to be explained anyway. My assumption thus far would be the Zonai... Like, this is my speculation now, and I know I think I'm repeating something I've heard in another video, I think a Nintendo Black Crisis video, that, though I digress, I still hold this opinion myself, in terms of speculation, we may be told the story of the Zonai from the perspective that there are two factions. Similar to how, and we know they're literally called a warlike tribe from the Farron region. So let's think of it this way. The warlike tribe from the Farron region that suddenly disappeared. And if they split into separate factions, that partially explains that disappearance. They wiped each other out. But what if alternatively, some, obviously as we can see here, some must have ascended to the sky. Or maybe they came from the sky, that's something. Yeah, they could have come from the sky, I suppose. That's a possibility. And it also explains why they have depictions of, since they're involved with Ganondorf somehow, we know that much. It now also explains why they have depictions in Breath of the Wild of certain events, such as the joint seal. They have a monument that is like a joint sealing of Ganondorf in Ocarina of Time, but also his failed execution in Twilight Princess. Not to mention there's a boar statue that is buried deep within the ground. Meanwhile, I don't think a wolf, but a dragon and owl statues are very much clearly above the surface. And we know, at least in the context of the Triforce, who those represent. So, it's possible that the Zonai are a faction that may not worship the Triforce exactly. Since it seems like these ones in the trailer are on Zelda's side. Very least Zelda and Link's side. But at the same time, it sounds like they're putting a lot of stakes on Link and Zelda for some reason. And if Ganondorf's not the one who's captured Zelda this time, then what are we looking at? Because in every other game, Ganondorf has needed Zelda, and that's why she's been captured. He has needed Zelda for some ultimate goal, and that's why she gets captured. Or at least Zelda would impede one of his goals, thus she has to be killed or captured. Which must mean that, in this context, he doesn't need Zelda for whatever he's got planned. He said he wants to burn Hyrule he wants to kill everyone in Hyrule. We know that from the last trailer. And in this one, he says it's the birth of his new world. So, one can only assume whatever he's got planned is significantly more fucked than before. Like, even if we take into account Hyrule Warriors, that's still not as fucked. Yeah, sure, cause a mass breach in the space-time continuum, and that's one thing, but, like, your goal ultimately was just still to for that to get fixed and for you to still conquer Hyrule. In this case, he doesn't seem interested in... Every time before, it's conquer Hyrule, claim the Triforce as his own. That's usually how it goes. And that's a result of him being, well, the Antichrist and incarnation of Demise's hatred. But so, let's think about it. Like every other Ganondorf plot so far. So, if we go all the way back to the beginning of the game, Skyward Sword, we aren't given too much information on Demise and the Demon Tribe outside of they came from a fissure in the ground. So quite literally, we're assuming they're from hell, and Demise is Satan. All we know is that Demise was hell-bent on claiming the Triforce as his own. In the next Ganon appearance canonically, which is Ocarina of Time, we just know he wants the Triforce. We know that for a fact that he's like, and he orchestrated all events so he could get into the Sacred Realm and try and claim the Triforce. in one scenario, he actually gets the full Triforce and becomes the Borg Ganon we see in all of the Downfall timeline. And in A Link to the Past, his plot is very much the same. Now that he has the full Triforce and is essentially a god, despite being sealed away in the Dark World, his whole goal is to conquer Hyrule and return to, well, the main world. And that kind of remains his plan for most. And eventually, obviously, his mind slowly degrades and degrades to the point where he becomes a mindless beast. Well, not necessarily a mindless beast, but a beast of very limited capacity, and it would only appear he wants to conquer Hyrule. That's it. Like, destruction and plundering destruction and power, we're assuming, are his ultimate goals. And he's already got a significant amount of power that keeps him stuck in the boar form, given the separation of the Triforce in the end, in the first two Zeldas. And if you look at the child timeline, where his original plan to get into the Sacred Realm is completely foiled by Link, having the Triforce of Courage on his hand, we can also reasonably assume so we know the Ganondorf's whole set of plans is fucked up by Link having the Triforce of Power Courage when he returns to the child timeline. And in this case, it's unclear what Ganondorf's end goal is. We know he wanted to conquer Hyrule. He did conquer Hyrule through Zant. But he also controlled the Twilight Realm through Zant. So, what would his ultimate goal have been? He had the Triforce of Power, and presumably he would have just wanted to take the Triforce of Courage from Midna and Link. Courage and Wisdom from Midna and Link. I'm guessing that's what he would do. But also, he had the fused shadow in his hand at one point. He could have used that to his own advantage, but he didn't. So, at least in the context of Twilight Princess, which, at least in my opinion, appears to be the most likely candidate for this current Ganondorf, but obviously, that's probably likely to be wrong. Oh! Hey, Encanted, you've just caught me going on rampant speculation from the current trailer. Yeah, so we've moved on from child timeline, and we go to adult timeline, where we get more sympathetic motivations for Ocarina of Time, where he said he wanted to conquer Hyrule and claim the Triforce to better his own people, which, fair enough. That can be a lot of motivation for some war, even if it's completely abhorrent, the results of those motivations. But he doesn't, and he still wants the Triforce. So, and assuming that Zelda has the Triforce, the full Triforce, which from Breath of the Wild appears apparent, what's his goal here? Does he want to destroy the Triforce and then destroy the world and rebuild it as his own? It's not clear. And if the Zonai are placing all their bets on Link and Zelda, what are they doing to not assist Link? It's very clear they want to assist Zelda, as given from this trailer. Like, they're there, one of them supposedly placing his hand on her shoulder. So, what's their play? Why would they assist Zelda so much, yet they're leaving Link to his own devices right after the Master Sword has just been destroyed? And actually, one thing I've just noticed now, this is Blood Moon particles. These are particles of Malice in the Blood Moon. So, does this mean that this is the faction of is this the alternate faction of Zonai I was thinking of earlier that might have sided with Ganondorf once upon a time? because they have horns as well, which, okay, isn't an indicator in all cases. A lot of creatures have horns in the Zelda universe. But as we can see here, a lot of Ganon's minions have horns in this game. And that is a fact. We see it all the time. And in fact, the Bokoblins, Moblin, all the enemies we've seen from Breath of the Wild that have come back for this game, all have much larger and more expressive horns than they did than the weird stumpy ones, such as with the Bokoblins. And Bokoblins got massive ones now. They got a little stumpy thing on their forehead. Now it's like, So, and if we're assuming that monsters are, if we know the monsters are sort of like an expression, or at least mindless fragmentation of Calamity Ganon's power in Breath of the Wild, so presumably they're an expression of just Ganondorf's power in general. So, and I doubt Ganondorf wants to rule over monsters, because in that sense he's ruling over himself. So if he wants to destroy Hyrule and build his own world, who does he intend to rule? The Gerudo? They're obviously against him here. They are very clearly and explicitly against him. Urbosa says that the Gerudo helping destroy Calamity Ganon is repenting for essentially bringing Ganondorf into the world, though not in so many words. And we also just see Riju in this trailer, presumably teaming up with Link. There's way too many, with each trailer, it opens up a whole new batch of possibilities. I actually don't know what to think, so, and I guess we'll just have to wait until the game releases. Though I digress. And Camden, I know you kind of showed up only a few minutes ago, but I'm about to end stream because I got stuff to do. But I want to thank everyone else who came by and watched this trailer reaction / speculation. VOD's immediately going to go live on YouTube, so don't worry about that. I'm also going to segment it into speculation and reaction. And yeah, that's it pretty much. So we'll just have to see where things go. Join me tomorrow afternoon. Yeah, no, it's fine. So join me tomorrow afternoon, probably around like 1 p.m., 4 p.m.-ish. Somewhere between those two times. For my final stream before I go on break for exams. In that stream, I'm going to tackle the Champion's Ballad, and then later also do the final boss of Breath of the Wild. But I'm going to try and do as much in Breath of the Wild as I can tomorrow following Champion's Ballad. Purely just because I'll be going on a pretty long break because exam season is about to start in a month for me. So I can't really dedicate time to planning out streams, and I need to use that time to revise more. But that's basically the plan. But either way, thank you